Hello, this is Bo Yatka, the creator of the NPC Emotional Behavior System. You are watching the Unity tutorial of this. There is also one available for Unreal Engine as well. So if you are a developer of that, you should check it out as well. It's basically the same thing, just for Unreal. So now, for the people who don't know what this is, it is an emotional behavior system that uses 27 different human emotions with 11 levels of strength. Basically, it's added to an NPC so that the NPC can have custom functionality, which is written by the user, the developer. And it does work with any game genre, too. So let's jump right into it here. Okay, so this is the demo. This is the demo project that will be available. And now, on the EBS object, which is these here, 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 and here, on there are 4 scripts that you'll need to put on for everything to work properly. You're going to have to put on the time manipulation if you want to use that. You're going to have to put the EBS interaction, of course, to interact with the player, to interacting with the EBS actor. The calculator basically does exactly what it sounds like. It does all the calculations. The emotion manager handles all of the emotions themselves, and you can set these as default to whatever you'd like. They're at 0 now, but you can set them whenever you want. They do not go negative, however, they do go up to 100. So they can be put up to any numbers you'd like there. So now time manipulation. Okay, so yeah, so that's that right there. So let's get into the actual scripts themselves. I'm going to show how it works, how to use it, and what you need to worry about and what you don't really need to worry about. First, you don't need to worry about the EBS time manipulation, and that's basically because it's all here already in the inspector. Basically what this does, if you want this to work, you're going to click on Start Manipulation. You're going to click on any emotion that you want to manipulate, and then you're also going to set whatever number you want to increment or decrement. You're also going to want to do the manipulation time, which is pretty much for right now it's set for 1 second, so every 1 second it will manipulate. However, you can make that whatever you want. Let's make that 5, just for demonstration purposes. The modifier is 1 by default. It can go from 0.1 to 2. 2 makes the emotion much stronger. Anything under 1 makes it not as strong. So, and let's just do a quick demonstration of how this works. Let's turn on 2 of them. We're going to turn on 2, make that 1, and make this, say, 1.75. Alright, so when I hit play, every 5 seconds, empathy value will go up 1, and the euphoria value will go up 1.75. So let's see that work. Okay, so now we have that all set up, so let's open up his emotions. Oh. And as you saw, the time went by, euphoria goes 175, the empathy goes up 1, as you can see there. So now say you want to make it so it's not as strong. Let's cut it by a half. 0.5. Now let's look and see what's happening. Every 5 seconds, what's happening now? Every 5 seconds now, the numbers are diminished by half. So before that was the empathy was going up 1, now it's going up 0.5 every 5 seconds. And this was going up 1.75, so it's going up half of 1.75 every 5 seconds. And so you can see that, and this number can be anything you'd like. 10 seconds. You can turn it to 25 seconds. Whatever you want. And you can even double it too. So you want to double the strength, and you want to make it every 15 seconds instead. So now let's see what happens every 15 seconds. Okay, and there we go. So you can see how it can be changed. It can be set to do however time you want. You can do the modifier. You could individually set each emotion, and then individually set however you want to modify it. All right. So and you can also see how if I go like that, everything stops. No more manipulation. Everything's gone. So, all right. So that's how that works. So let's get into the actual scripts. This is the what I'm going to show you next. I'm going to show you 3 different things. The first thing, actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to show you 4 different things. First, I'm going to show you the actual function that handles getting and setting all of the emotions in code. We're going to show how the EBS, how we can manipulate one actor from a pickup. We're going to see how you manipulate multiple actors from a pickup. And then we're also going to show how it can be manipulated directly on the actor itself by taking in consideration from outside, like what the player has in his hand maybe, or inventory, or whatever you want to set it to actually. All right, so let's jump into that now. Okay, so let's start here. Now the emotion value, this is the very important function. This is the one you're going to be using mostly to make this system work properly. So if you want to get an emotion, basically all you're going to do is you're going to call this public function, and you're going to type in the emotion, and that's all you need. You just need a string emotion. Now, just keep in mind though, the string emotions do have to be lowercase, so they all have to look like that or like this, you know, just like that. If they are not, it will get an error and will not work. Now, let's say you want to set instead of just getting it. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to call this function. You're going to write whatever string emotion you'd like to put here. But instead of this being false, you're going to set this to true. Setting this to true says, okay, it's time to use these other modifiers. So we also can set the float and manipulation value to whatever we want. We can make it negative or positive, however you'd like. And you can set the modifier to whatever you'd like to. Now, you can't go below 0.1 for mathematical reasons. We don't want to be multiplying by 0, or you're not going to get anything. So it's going to be 0.1 and is the lowest. Now, you can go, this is a little different than the time manipulation. The time manipulation only goes to 2 seconds. I'm sorry, double. You can make this whatever you'd like manually. You can make this 100 if you wanted to. But just keep in mind, the maximum float at this point for the emotions is 100. You can change that if you'd like, and that will be changed here. So as you can see, the ranges are 0 to 100. If I want to make it go to 1,000, I just add a 0. So you could do that if you'd like to. All right, so let's see this function in action. Now, we're going to go to the pickup. Now, this pickup script is on both the sword and the money pile that is in the demo video, the demo scene. So now what it's going to do is when the player walks over it, it's going to check and say, okay, are we the money or are we the sword? Now, if we're the money, we're going to say, okay, we want to manipulate one actor individually. We want to take its happiness, we want to set it, and we want to add 2 to it with no modifier. So the cool thing is with this function is you could just leave it out. If you don't want to use the modifier, leave it out. If you don't want to set anything, just leave everything out except for the string. So what will happen is when the money pile is picked up for one particular actor, which would be set here, which I did make available in the inspector with the serialized field. Once it sees that, it's going to say, okay, we're going to raise the value for this particular EBS actor. All right, however, now, let's see, do we pick up the sword? Now, the sword does a little bit of a different thing. Instead of only manipulating one, it manipulates multiple actors. Now, that is basically put in here, right here. So this is also in the inspector, and I'll show that to you when we go back to the demo scene. But you have a list now. You can set to however long you want, and you're going to put any emotion managers that you want in there, any EBS actors that you want in there. So what it'll do is it'll take that list and it's going to run through every single one of them. As long as there's some in there, it's going to run through every list, the entire list, and it's going to add fear by 2 with a modifier of 0.1. So pretty much when you pick up the sword, it'll go up 1 because that's your modifier there. All right, so quick recap for this script. We have the example of manipulating emotions of a single EBS object with no modifier. And we also have a sword down here, which will example of manipulating multiple instances of EBS objects with a modifier. All right, so that's a couple of different ways to do it directly on an object that you pick up. And let's continue on. This is just a simple inventory I made so that we know, so the player can have the objects in hand. It's really not 100% necessary for making this work, but it is part of it. All right, so now we have the EBS interaction. Now what this does is basically when the player walks up to the EBS object and left clicks to interact, it's going to check the player conditions. It's going to check, does he have money in his hand? Does he have a sword in his hand? Does he have both in his hand, or does he have nothing in his hand? Now we're going to do different things in case in different situations. So, say first we're going to start. The player is not holding the money or the sword, so there's not going to be any manipulation. There's no reason because you don't have anything in your hands. However, now we're going to have the players holding both items. Now this can be kind of confusing for an EBS actor. So the anxiety is going to go up, the fear is going to go up, and the surprise is going to go up. We have an anxiety value that's going to go up by 7.5 with a modifier of 0.8. We have a fear value that's going to be modified by 10 with a, it's going to be incremented by 10 with a modifier of 0.35. And then we're going to increment surprise by 15 with a 1.5 modifier. Now, what will happen if we only have the sword? Now, what's going to happen with the sword, we're going to do a couple different things now. We're going to raise fear by 10 with no modifier. We're going to raise anger by 4.5 with no modifier. But we're going to lower the gratitude. We're going to subtract gratitude by -8 by 8. And we're going to subtract surprise by 10. Now, this, of course, is just an example. You can set it up however you'd like. But this is just the way I set it with these particular emotions. And then here's another one here, the money in hand. Now this has no sword, only money, so of course something different will happen. The gratitude will go up by 8, surprise will go up by 10, fear will go down by 10, anger will go down by 4.5. And as you can see, there's no modifier. If I wanted to add one in, basically add one in, just like that. Very simple. All right, cool. So now let's get to the most interesting part of this whole thing. Now, what I did was I set it up so when the player walks up to the EBS actor and clicks on the left mouse, it will go through the EBS calculator. It'll do all the necessary calculations. It's a 2-part algorithm that will run. And it's going to have an outcome of, it's either going to have a positive, neutral, or negative outcome, and a positive, neutral, or negative reaction. So pretty much it's 2 parts. You're gonna have the first part and the second part. So your possible outcomes are positive and positive. You got a positive emotion with a positive reaction. Got a positive emotion with a neutral reaction. Positive emotion with negative, and neutral with positive. Neutral with neutral. Neutral and negative. Negative and positive, negative and neutral, negative and negative. Now, in each different situation, different things can happen. Now, right now I have nothing set. All I have it set is to take the reaction names and just put it over the EBS actor's head. However, this is where you come in. This is where you can put in anything you want here. You can put in animation booleans. You can put in custom functions. You could put in events. You could pretty much do anything you want happen here to make the EBS actor act accordingly to the situation. So let's show this in action. All right, so first things first, let's hit play. And also let's turn off the counters here. We don't want any counters, no manipulation from that. Okay, good. All right, so now we have these 4 actors and we got the player. So I'm going to walk up to this actor, which is the EBS object here, and we're going to take a look at its values. Right now, everything's at 0, and default, the people are pretty nice people, or the NPCs are nice, so they have a positive outcome and a positive reaction when you walk up to them with 0 manipulation. However, let's change that. Let's pick up the sword. Now, picking up the sword, as you recall before, on the sword are a list of 4 emotion managers, which are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So when I pick this sword up, it's going to manipulate all 4 at one time. So let's watch that happen. All right, so I picked up the sword. So now, as you can see, all right, as you can see, the fear went up to 1 for that one, for that object. It went up for that one. It went up for that one, and it went up for that one as well. So that shows how all of them can be manipulated in one shot. Now let's manipulate them all, or I'm sorry, let's manipulate just one of them. So now I have this set up so just the money pile will only, it will only show, all right, okay. So the money pile will only manipulate just this, which is this one right here. So let's watch that happen. Here we go. All right, now let's see. Let's see what kind of changes happen when I pick this up. Okay, so now as you can see, happiness went up too, but it did not affect any of the others. And as you can see, empathy on this one is up. And that is because I did have this turned on here. Let's turn that off. Let's get rid of that. Things here. And let's bring this back down to 0. Good. All right. So now I picked up the objects and they manipulated the proper actors. So let's pull out a sword. By hitting B, a blade comes out. So now I have the sword in my hand. Now let's walk up to this actor here. Actually, let's see his numbers. Let's walk up to this actor here and let's speak to him. Now right now his happiness is at 2 and his fear is at 1. So right now his happiness is stronger than his fear. So if we walk up to him without a sword in our hand, we have a positive and a positive. However, let's walk up to him with the sword in our hand. Now, negative, negative. You can see down here, we have anger went up 4.5. Fear went up 11. So right now, we have a lot of negative emotions. These negative emotions are much stronger than the positives. So we get that outcome. However, let's walk away. Let's put the blade away and let's take out a bet of our money. So you can see the money in his hand now. And let's see what happens next. All right, now we have a positive and a positive. If you look here, a lot of my negative emotions went away and my positive emotions went up. So that changed the attitude and the emotions of this NPC to make him do that. So let's walk up to him with a blade and money And let's see how he reacts now. Okay, now he's a little confused now. I mean, he's kind of happy we have money in our hand and he's got gratitude, but he's kind of freaked out that we're holding a sword. His surprise is way up because he has money and a sword in his hand, and his fear is still there. So it's not gone. So now that's where we get the neutral and the positive because of these different manipulations here. All right. So, and then putting everything away. Now, don't forget, you have nothing, and nothing will change because now I don't have anything in my hand. But let's pick up the money, and let's speak to him now. All right, now I have no negative emotions are completely gone, as you can see, and my gratitude went back up. So, of course, this is all logic. But if I wanted to make that 0 again, considering our surprise went up so many times because we were running at him with a sword and money and all that other nice stuff. Now, we're just going to walk up to him like this, interact. Now we have positive, and his surprise went back up to 10 because he's still pretty surprised that we're trying to hand him money. So now that is basically the same setup for all of these. If I want to pull out the money or the blade, let's negative. Let's make him happier by picking up money, neutral positive, because he's now, we came at him with a sword. And, he was kind of scared. He wasn't very happy about it. And now we put the sword away and we have money. So he's still, he's still kind of freaked out about us. But he's not so bad. Now it's kind of more of a neutral outcome and a positive reaction. So that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching the tutorial. If you have any questions at all, you can email me directly. My email is mrcreativity1124@gmail.com. And I will do my best to get back to you in a timely fashion. But I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you enjoy using the tool. And thank you for watching.